You are not alone. We're here to support our community. Get help to overcome life's barriers by setting up a meeting to talk with Great Awakening's interdisciplinary team. Great Awakening is committed to healing Israel's brokenness. The GA interdisciplinary team comprises of Torah-observant and Ruach-filled professionals from various disciplines who work in collaboration to address Great Awakening's mishpacha with multiple physical, spiritual, emotional, financial, marital, family, social, and psychological needs. Our interdisciplinary team is not just a group of awakened experts implementing separate care and treatments of a person. They complement one another's expertise and actively coordinate to work toward shared treatment goals. Our team of interdisciplinary professionals are nurses, physical therapists, physicians, therapists, social workers, Moreh/spiritual practitioners, family counselors, and other specialists, all working together for the shared goal of the mishpacha's healing, deliverance, treatment, and recovery. Our interdisciplinary team focuses on mental health, health and fitness, Torah-based spiritual care, financial stewardship, family coaching, and medical care advocacy needs. This team takes an approach to healing and deliverance that integrates multiple disciplines through collaboration of teams within the Great Awakening. These teams help ensure that the Mishpacha of Great Awakening International receives the best care by implementing an integrated approach to inner healing. Please go to www.greathebrewawakening.org to fill out the interdisciplinary team's intake form. And these words which I command thee this day shall be in thine heart, and thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children, and shalt talk of them when thou sittest in thine house, and when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up. Deuteronomy 6:6-7. Great Awakening's Crowd Descendants National Children's Ministry. Enroll your children in our free bi-weekly virtual Hebrew-centered ministry, starting February 2022. This ministry engages youth in verbal and visual exercises, hands-on biblical studies, and interactive Hebraic studies. Ministry sessions are designed for 3 different age groupings: ages 4 to 7, ages 8 to 11, and ages 12 to 14. All sessions are on Sundays. All subjects are taught by professional Torah-based Messianic teachers. A strong emphasis is placed on faith and keeping the commandments as integration into the child's spiritual growth, family, and community, while creating social engagement and building self-esteem. All classes are powered by Zoom. Register your children at www.greathebrewawakening.org. Join the Great Awakening International in Batesville, Mississippi for Passover, April 15th to the 18th, 2022. Passover 2022 includes sleep in a 3-star hotel, transportation to and from Memphis International Airport, workshops, biblical teachings, breakfast and lunch meals, swimming/recreational activities, transportation to the land, tour of our land, working on the land, children getting to learn agriculture and pet animals, inflatables for children, live and interactive panel discussions, a Passover production play, our night of worship featuring the Sound of Yah International Hebrew Choir. Great fellowship. A Sabbath gathering. Annual GAI State of Awakening Address. Interactive formal cedar meal. Marriage, single, youth, and children workshops. Go to www.greathebrewawakening.org to register today. Jeremiah 1:7. But Yahuwah said to me, do not say I am too young. You must go to everyone I send you to and say whatever I command you. Great Awakenings Obey Yah Youth Ministry presents Ayo, Awaken Youth Obey Yah, a monthly live stream panel discussion for the youth and by the youth. Ayo, it's time to sound the alarm, blow the shofar, awakening the youth out of the darkness and into the Most High's marvelous light. This panel discussion will be moderated by Moreh Anav Shakab and Yoel Ben Yisrael. Our 5 youth panelists will be Ak Trey Banks, Akot Atira Forrest, Ak Ananias Forrest, Akot Amaya House, and Ak Stephen King. These 5 panelists will bring out topics associated with modern-day events and juxtapose them with the written word of the Most High Yah. Youth such as our panelists are tremendously instrumental in the awakening of the youth in the diaspora. The voices of our youth have been silenced in the past because of their age, but not anymore. Join Ayo, Awaken Youth Obey Yah every first Wednesday live on Facebook and YouTube, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. EST.
At the end, I'm just trying to win, so I'ma put away my sins. You can have it all, I surrender, you can win. Chasing out the righteousness, not looking back again. Staying set apart, ain't even answering where I've been. Hey, I seeking salvation.
Salvation is a peace of mind. It's a peace of mind, man. Yeah, we gotta get it piece by piece. We gon' get it piece by piece. Be patient. We gon' get it out. Look, flipping through the scriptures, got that close up like a telescope. Before I came alive, yeah, they gave me hope. August 12th, I took it to the water, had to realize. Made a covenant with
First time was the best, huh? I hope y'all caught the first one. I hope we got the first one. All right. We're just going to have a quick word of prayer before we get started here. Heavenly Father, in the name of Yah, come before thee, thanking you for your only begotten Son that you've given unto us to redeem us and to get us back into covenant with you, covenant practices, and living this life according to where your word has ordained and directed us and the instructions that you've given us in your Torah. We ask that you would feed us on tonight, those who are in the house and those who will be watching online live and those who will be picking it up after today. We ask that something will be said in the word through the Ruach that will feed us, that will instruct us, that will help us, that will guide us, and that will put you first in all things. And remember those that are absent, those who are sick and afflicted in their homes right now. I ask that you would give strength to the body, to our brothers and our sisters, and that we'll be able to overcome all things in this life. And remember those who are struggling, those who are drifting, those who have given up. We pray for your mercy. Your mercy will be extended, for you said that your mercy endureth forever, and that your grace will save us in this hour. We ask that you give us instruction, and we'll know how to present our bodies a living sacrifice, will be holy and acceptable unto you, which is our reasonable service. And Father Yah, in the name of Yahushua, we pray that we'll be transformed by the renewing of our mind, and we'll be fit and ready when you come back to set up your kingdom here on earth. Get us ready for that day. In the name of Yahushua, we pray. Hallelujah. All right, shalom, shalom, shalom to everyone. And praise the Most High, His only begotten Son, the Son that He's given unto us to redeem us, to be the example for us, that we have something that we can, a model or something that we can compare ourselves to, knowing that He is the one that's going to judge us in that day. You and I, both of us, whether you are in the what we like to use the words, there's certain terminology we like to use in the church. Oh, they're in church, they're out of church, they're saved, they're unsaved, they're a saint, they're a sinner. Whatever you want to, whatever side you're on, however you want to describe yourself or others, we all are going to have to stand before that man, the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. We all going to meet him, and we're going to be judged by him. And so he's given us an opportunity, as we have been, he has imparted the Spirit, the Ruach of his Son. He's imparted him unto us to give us power to overcome everything in this life. We will not be able to stand before him and give an account for our life and then say, well, I didn't have the power, I wasn't capable, I wasn't able to. You put me in a windless situation. I was in a family that it was just impossible. I think it's unfair to compare my life to the life of your son, being that he was sinless. But that is the model for us to strive for. That's who we're to look unto him, the author and the finisher of our faith. We're to look unto his only begotten Son as a model on how we should conduct ourselves, how we should live, because that's who we're going to be compared to. That's who we're going to be judged by. That's who we're going to be judged by. So, and it's not unfair, because when he imparts his Ruach, his Spirit unto us, and he's given us power to overcome. He tells us in Revelations 21 and 7, he that overcometh, that's the one that's going to inherit, the ones that overcome. So if you're not overcoming in your life, well, then you're not going to inherit that kingdom. You're not going to inherit eternal shalom with our Messiah and to reign with our Messiah if you haven't overcome. We have to overcome in this day. I want to make some announcements here before I get started. And at Bethlehem Temple in Kenosha, Wisconsin, they're having what is this? A marriage class in pursuit of a healthy marriage. Here's to loving you. And that's going to be this Shabbat, May 21st at 3 p.m. at Bethlehem Temple. For those who are interested, there's the contact person is Sister Lucy Powell, and that this information will be in the back. Also, this coming first day of the week, which would be May 22nd, there's going to be a book signing at PCG. Kitty Daly, Angela Kitty Daly, is going to be signing some books. I've got some postcards here. I want to kind of pass these out for anybody that will be interested in ordering her book or being there for her book signing. It's Color My Style, Discover the Uniqueness in You. Some of us know Angela Kitty Daly. We grew up with her, coming from the same assembly, Pentecostal Church of God, years and years ago. A few days ago. Let's put it that way. It's been a little while, but I want to back up instead of saying years. I'll back up. It's been a number of days ago. But we kind of grew up. But her book signing is going to be Sunday, the first day of the week, May 22nd, this coming first day of the week, at 11:30, or immediately after their service that they have up there. So all those who want to go to the book signing and get this book, and also if you're watching online and you're not going to be in this area, you can purchase this book. It's on Amazon, and it's called Color My Style, Discover the Uniqueness in You. And she's going to be there at 11:30. I don't know if you want to go by there and get, see her book, and she'll sign the book for you. That's this coming first day of the week. Also, this first day of the week, we're going to be here and have a leadership meeting at 11 o'clock. I'm going to drop that, make sure everybody's aware of that. That'll be this first day of the week at 11. Now, some might want to leave, dismiss themselves, and go to the book signing. That's fine, but there's some things that we have to discuss and go over. Starting May 26th, going up to June 4th, we need everybody to pick your day that your house will fast, and that fast is 6A to 6P. We'll be fasting from 6A to 6P, but pick out one of those days. The Parker family has May 26th. Then we're just going to go on and so forth. We do have a calendar up there. We ask for you, those who are locally here, to sign that calendar, and then those who are not local here that want to participate in this fast as we lead up to Shavuot or Pentecost. It's 10 days. He was with them 40 days after his resurrection. They were to count the 7 Sabbaths, because before the Mashiach came, they would count 7 Sabbaths after the Passover, unleavened bread, and they had Shavuot or Pentecost. And so he celebrated it in his day. It was celebrated after his resurrection, and continuously it was celebrated. It had not stopped, along with the other feasts: Passover, unleavened bread, Pentecost, trumpets, atonement, tabernacles. All of those feasts continued on after his resurrection. And so from 26th of May to June 4th, and then June 4th at 6 p.m., we'll be here. We'll be here having our feast in the fellowship hall, June 4th at 6 p.m. June 5th at 9 a.m., we'll be here in the sanctuary up here, praising, having our Shavuot service, an uplifting Shavuot service. The songs of Zion, the testimonies of ministers will be ready to take part in that. That's going to be on June 5th. June 5th, which will be the 50th day. Pentecost is the English translation from the Greek word 50 count. When you see Pente, that's 50. Cost is count. So it's a 50 count, and we say Pentecost. And I think, it's an educational point. We need to be explaining what it is, because a lot of people who are in the church don't know what Pentecost means or what it stands for. Where you get Pentecost? What does Pentecost mean? It means 50 count. 50 count what? Count 50 from what? Where do you start? Where do you end? What does the 50 count mean? Well, you have to go back to unleavened bread, week of unleavened bread, and that Shabbat. After that Shabbat and the Feast of Unleavened Bread, then you start to count 7 Sabbaths. And you count 7 Sabbaths, and then after that 7th Sabbath, then the next day, when that day was fully come, which is Shavuot, and then you had the outpouring of the Ruach Kodesh, or the Holy Ghost. It was poured out unto his people that were obedient unto him. He had given them instruction. They went at his ascension, and he said he was going to go away, but he told them to wait until you be endued with power from on high. And they said, are you going to restore unto us the kingdom at this time? He says, it's not for you to know the time or the season when Abba is going to restore the kingdom, because as the Mashiach, the Ben Elohim, Son of God, the Ben Elohim, as a Mashiach, he doesn't know when that day is going to be. And I know we look at the Ben, or the Son, and we've been, it's been drilled in us, it's been taught unto us that he knows everything and he is Elohim. But yet he doesn't know the time that he's going to return. He even said that. He said, my Father, or Abba, knows it. I don't. The Son doesn't know, nor the angels. That is something that he has not given to his only begotten Son. So a lot of our understanding of the book is very incomplete. Very incomplete understanding. And so many of us, we're okay with that. We're okay with being incomplete. Many of our leaders, our teachers, our pastors, our shepherds, these traveling evangelists, and all these people that you got some of our brothers and sisters, they can't teach or preach unless there's 500,000. How big's the crowd going to be? Because they want to know how big. If it's a big crowd, that means I'm going to get some money. So that's telling you that they're in it for filthy lucre. That it's just filthy lucre. And then we give these men and women so much adoration, and they're just doing it for the money. There's so much of this book, the knowledge and understanding of this book, that is incomplete unto us. And we seem to like it like that. But we're coming down to the day and the hour where being incomplete ain't going to make it. It's not going to make it. He said, my people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. And because you've rejected knowledge, then I've rejected you. And we don't want that to happen to us, for him to reject us simply because we rejected truth. I've learned so much in the last 6 years. I've learned more in the last 6 years, and some of it has been self-taught, than what I've learned all my life up to that point, being in or around the church all my life, and heard a lot of great teachers and preachers, a lot of them. But we become lazy because you can explain to people facts, and they don't want to hear to them. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I mean, you look at the King James, and in my study, the King James is a English translation. That's a fact. It's an English translation. So the question ought to be, what was it translated from? Because it is factual, it's true that our Messiah did not speak English. He did not speak English. If you can prove to me that he spoke English, which you can't, But if you can, well, he might not have spoken, but he understood it. Well, yeah, but he didn't speak. So if the King James is an English translation, then where it came from had to be better than what the translation is, I would think. I don't know but I would think that wherever it came from, being that it's a translation, that wherever it came from had to be better or more complete. It has to be more complete because I got a translation. The things that we say, he never said. He never said. He never said those things. But it seems like we're okay in being ignorant. And we rejoice over our ignorance. I mean, even in the King James, when did the King James come out? 1611. They started on it about 1602, took them about that long to translate it from the Latin Vulgate. Well, did he speak Latin? No, he didn't speak Latin. Where did they get the Latin Vulgate from? Well, from the Greek writings, the Greek Septuagint. Did he speak Greek? No, he didn't speak Greek. Well, what did he speak? He spoke Hebrew. This dragon, this beast, that the 12th chapter, let's go there first. Revelations 12 and verse 9. Let's go there first. Revelations 12 and 9. This dragon is so deceptive, he'll make you feel comfortable, powerful, and impenetrable in ignorance. You can be set in ignorance and think you're invincible. This dragon is powerful. This dude is, what does he say here? And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent. What's he called? The devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. Nothing but a deceiver. That's his power. That's his play. That's his power over you, for you to be deceived. He's got so many folks deceived, going to church 3-4 times a day or a week. 3-4 times a week in deception. He'll have you feeling comfortable in ignorance. That's how powerful he is. Truth can come to you. I mean, factual truth can come, and you're so saved you're rejected. So who's deceived? Who's deceived? In my study, as I study this book, I enter into my study knowing that the King James is an English translation. In fact, in the original King James Version, the name of the Son is spelled I-E-S-V-S or I-E-S-V. Some of them you have the S on the back, some of them you don't. And that's where the Roman Catholic Church, how do you know it's I-E-S-V, 4 letters? Because that's what the Roman Catholic Church did. That's how they spoke it. That's how your English translation is translated for the Anglican bishops of the Roman Catholic Church. They translate that. I know a lot of people are trying to figure out what does this have to do, but just stay with me because all of this leads up to, it's going to lead up to Pentecost because something great happened on Pentecost. Something great happened on Pentecost. But in this translation that we have, they can change the name on him again, and folks are going to go for it without a fight. Without a fight. Oh, you don't know that. I-E-S-V. I-E-S-V-S. I-E-S-U-S. J-E-S-U-S. And none of those is his name. And folks are blaspheming when they say the Almighty Elohim, Yahuwah in heaven, who created all things, when they say his name is Jesus, that's blasphemous. And you better hope you're forgiven. You better hope you're forgiven, because the Most High Yah, who gave his name over 6,800 times, the Most High Yah, his name is not Jesus. My approach to this, as I'm getting back to the original, because there's so much I'm learning, it'll blow your mind. It will blow your mind when you go back to the original Hebrew and how it was written, what the letters mean, and how the letters were. Do you know in the Hebrew Bible, or the Hebrew writings, as far back as they can, before the Masoretic text, when they put the Nakud in there and everything, in the ancient writings, because they can't find any pictograph writings, from mine, unless I find it somewhere where they can find some pictograph. If there's any pictograph, you know where the pictograph would be? It's not going to be on the leaves and stuff. You know where the pictograph would be? Yes. But where at on the caves? The walls. So you don't have anything that was written down on like the paper. Now, they didn't have paper like we had paper, but they had scrolls and stuff that we wrote on. But the pictograph Hebrew that we learned and studied, and we can place the pictograph in here with the paleo. But that pictograph, you'll find that on like the walls of the caves and stuff like that, because when they wrote in the walls, or because they didn't have the paper like we have right now. You would be surprised. And because we're going to graduate, I don't know. I'm gonna try to teach. I'm gonna try to teach this great authority that is in the earth, that was given or created by the Most High Yah. Nothing exists, lives, nothing lives or exists without divine law. Nothing. Nothing. In his you can go back to his creation. When he created, it was created under the divine law. Well, where did the divine law come from? The divine law comes from the Most High Yah, who created divine law. And with divine law, he created everything else. It is so ignorant of people who say they have the Holy Ghost or Ruach Kodesh to say they're not under law. That is so ignorant. He doesn't make anything without law. Everything that was created by divine law that he created. So when somebody says, I don't want to do that, I'm not under law, you're ignorant. You're just ignorant. That's just stupidity. Where did you get that from? What do you mean? There's a law of physics. Where do you think physics comes from? That comes from the Most High Yah. The law of gravity, anything's heavier than air, what's going to happen? It's going to come down. There's a law of sowing and reaping, and I don't care how big, how little, how wide, how narrow you are. There's a law of sowing and reaping. Whatsoever a man soweth, that shall they also reap. That's divine law. For all these churchgoers who feel that there is no law, I don't have to follow no law, you're ignorant. You're ignorant. Satan has come to deceive the whole world. I am closer to the Most High Yah when I can call on his name, when I know his name and I can call on his name. I'm closer to his son. Give me, Brother Nathan, Yahuchanan 5 and 43. Yahuchanan 5 and 43. What does he say? I come in my Abba's name. I come in my Abba's name. And you got ignorant folks that will tell you Abba's name is J-E-S-U-S. That's just ignorance. Because there was no J-E-S-U-S when Yahuchanan wrote this. And Yahusha spoke it. There was no J-E-S-U-S. And for somebody to claim that the Father's name up in heaven is J-E-S-U-S is just simple stupidity. You're stupid. I know that doesn't rest on a lot of people. Is somebody monitoring the chat? I want to welcome everybody. Welcome everybody to our Bible class. I'm gonna try to if there's any questions, I'm gonna try to follow, and we got some that are monitoring, and I'll try to keep up with the question. But welcome. I know some folks ain't gonna like it. You get to talking like that, folks are dropping. I'm dropping out. Because he got folks so tripped up, they can't see it. They cannot see it. And he says here, ye receive me not. Y'all see that? I'm in my Abba's name, and you don't receive me. And you can go into all these CHURCHs globally, and they will not receive his name. They will not. He is the prophet. And he did prophesy. Ye receive me not in my Abba's name. So when you look at his name, you have to see the Abba's name in his name. And the Abba's name is Yod-He-Ud-He. That's the Father, the Abba's name, Yod-He-Ud-He. So he says, I'm coming in that name. Well, it does say in the church of, I think it's the church of Ephesus in Revelations 2. Before we go there, he says, if another shall come in his own name, that own name is a created name. He's going to come in his own name. What are you going to do? What y'all going to do? You're going to receive him. You're going to receive him. You can tell folks daily, all day long, what his name is. They won't accept it. Why? Because he prophesied. This is prophecy. He said only a few gonna find it. Only a few gonna find it. I I can't understand why the church, especially saved folks, don't receive truth. Don't believe them. I don't understand it. But we've been indoctrinated for so long. For so long we've been indoctrinated, and we've had leaders who told us and scared us. You have folks who will fight you over this. I mean, you got some folks who will fight you to the death until you shed blood. And you tell them, well, that's a translation. Well, I'll take the translation. But what's better than the translation? Don't you know that the original is better than the translation? Can you say the original? I can. I can say his father's name. I can say something. But it was prophesied. He says, him ye will receive. So it's true anyhow. People's receiving it. They definitely receiving it. So Revelations 2, let's look at verse 1. I think it's verse 2 that I want, but let's look at verse 1. Revelations 2 and 1. Unto the angel, and that angel is the messenger, because that's what angels were. They were messengers. Unto the angel of the church of Ephesus, write these things, saith he that holdeth the 7 stars in his right hand. And that 7 stars, you have the menorah here. It talked about in the first chapter, it talked about the menorah and what was in the midst of the menorah, right? So the 7 stars in his right hand, who walketh in the midst of the 7 golden candlesticks, that's the menorah. Isn't that something? You got churches who won't have a menorah, but they'll put a Christmas tree up in the church, but they don't have a menorah. And he's speaking. I'm in the midst of the golden candlesticks, 7 of them. And what he's talking about here, this golden candlestick, was the menorah. So you got some folks, well, they don't believe in Torah. They don't believe in laws. They don't believe in his name. They don't believe in the commandments, the 10 commandments. They don't believe in the covenant. So why do you think they would believe in the menorah? They don't believe in none of that. Yahushua Mashiach is not the author of Christianity. I am so happy that I know, and I'm so solid on this, I'll be saying this until the day I die or he come get me. I ain't moving. Once he opens up your understanding to the truth, and then you turn from that, you know what you are? Coward. You got some men who know this, but they're cowards. They can't stand up. They can't stand on it. It takes some intestinal fortitude to do this, because you got a lot of folks. Okay, in verse 2, I know thy works and thy labor and thy patience, and how thou cannot bear them which are evil. There's a lot of people that's not ready. They're not ready. You're not ready for the kingdom. Old and young alike. You're not ready for the kingdom. And it's not going to be too much longer. We're spiraling into harder times, tribulation. All of this pre-trib and mid-trib and this rapture stuff, y'all know where that comes from? That comes from the Roman Catholic Church. The reason why they brought that up is because they know who they are and they know what their judgment is. So they got you believing that you're going to escape. Because that's what they want to do. They want to escape. They got you believing you want to be the first one out. You want to be the first one out. Until you look at the parable of the tares and the wheat, and the first one out was the tares. Those who remain, the wheat, he gathered. And that's what Shaul said in 1 Thessalonians chapter 4. He says, we that are alive and remain, the ones that were left behind. I'm going to come back here, Brother Nathan, but let's go to 1 Thessalonians 4 and 17. Then we which are alive and remain, get those translations, compare the Bible, get those translations. Let's go down here to the King James with the strong numbers on them. We which are alive and remain, G 4035. Anyway, that's Greek, Koine Greek. From 4012 and 3007, what does it say? To leave all around. That is passively means to survive. To leave all around? Those who make it, like Yahusha said in Matthew 24 and 13, he says, he that endureth until the end, the same is going to be rescued. To leave all around. To leave all around. What's so hard about that? But when you've been indoctrinated for hundreds of years, your indoctrination will tell you we're the first ones out. Your indoctrination would tell you the first one out, even though it says to be left behind. So he says, the ones who are left behind, those are the wheat. The ones who are taken out first is the tare. Oh no, we're going out first. Pre-trib. I tell you, man, that devil, I tell you, Satan, he's a deceiver. He's a deceiver. To leave all around, that means you got to survive. Survive what? You got to survive what's coming. This world's getting bad. You got to survive what's coming. Okay, Brother Nathan, 24, Matthew, Matif Yahu, 24 and verse 7. And then let's get this in the different versions, and I want to look up this word. King James, it says, for nation shall rise against nation. I'm going to show you what you're going to have to survive. Nation is G 1484. Ethnos, probably from 1486. What does a nation mean in this? A race. So what is he saying? A race or ethnic is going to rise against ethnic, or race against race. And we're starting to see that. It's planned. There's nothing we can do. Why isn't there anything we can do about it? Because he prophesied it. He said it was going to happen. He said it was going to happen. So you're going to have conflict with races. There's going to be racial conflict. I know nobody wants to hear about it. I know in the churches we want to push that aside and say we don't deal with social issues. We don't want to deal with social issues. We just want to have these presentations where we come in here and everybody's just having a big old presentation and jumping around, screaming and shouting and spitting and sweating and playing dances. You can't tell me they don't practice them dances. They practice them dances when they up here cutting a step. They practice that. But this is going to happen. Okay, Brother Nathan, let's go back. So he says, you got to survive. You've got to be left behind. You got to make it through. Matthew 24:13. This whole thing that our Messiah said here is good, but let's look at 13. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. This endurance, I got to survive. I got to make it to the end. It's getting bad today. Food shortages is coming. That's coming. We've been talking about that for how long? How long we been talking? I know it's been more than a year. I know it's been a long time I've been talking about it. Food shortages. Because I remember saying it, whenever you get groceries, you ought to try to get a little extra and just put some aside, get you, build up your pantry or whatever, just have some stuff that you can, in the event you go to the grocery store and it's not there. Grow a garden. We've been saying that. Learn how to can. Well, what am I doing in the wintertime? Well, get some of that garden stuff, the harvest you get out of that garden. Can it? Prepare yourself because you have to endure. You got to endure unto the end. He says in verse number 24, let's go down to verse number 24. He says, there shall arise false Christs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that if possible, they shall deceive the very elect. He says, behold, I've told you before now. I've given you the warning. You've got to survive. You can't be deceived. False Christs, more than one. False prophets, more than one. Showing great signs and wonders because we love a presentation. We love a good show. We love it. They're going to show great signs and wonders. If it's possible, his elect will be deceived. Here's that deceived again. They shall deceive the very elect. There's a lot of elect deceived. Let's go back to Revelations 2:2, because there's a lot of us can't get over this. He's talking about the saints, those who have an ear to hear. You can't bear them which are evil. There's one thing I wanted to mention before we get on this is you know what they're getting a shortage on that's coming up? They've already said that there's a shortage. Our fuel prices are skyrocketing, right? You know what else is getting ready? Think about our fuel prices. Did you hear about that too? A shortage of diesel is coming. I heard, well, they're going to keep jacking up the prices because of availability. You're not going to have, whenever you have a shortage of something, that jacks up the price. So they don't have it in volume like they used to. So the price is going up. But not only is that going to drive up, I mean, you got the transportation costs, which is going to drive up the prices of everything, but then you're going to have less trucks on the road. And you shut down the trucks in this nation? Oh, you talking about chaos setting in? And I wouldn't be telling a whole bunch of folks how much food I got in the house. I wouldn't do that. Yeah, they see you. Oh, I know who's got a pantry full of food. It's going to get like that. We have to endure. We have to endure to the end. We have to survive. When he told us, when Shaul said that in Thessalonians, he said, those who are alive and survive. And Yahusha said they got to make it to the end. Yes. Yeah, that's in Kings. That was, I don't know if that was prophecy, but as far as way in the future, like how we look at prophecy, it was prophetic for that day because you had, what was it? There were some people with some that were, I don't know, it's in Kings. I don't want to misquote, but it was in Kings. And within 24 hours, the price skyrocketed for bread and for wheat and barley. Barley was going to, yes. It says, woe unto the mothers who give suck in that day. And it could be because when he spoke in prophecy, some of that in Matthew 24 was leading up to 70 AD. But then some of it was after that, because that's one thing about prophecy. You have the dual effect of prophecy, where because he says it's a day that man has never seen before. It's going to be so tragic and so bad that a day that man has not ever seen before. Right. And you're starting to feel that today, mothers with small children. And when you look at the news, you wonder, well, how did we make it without Similac? How did we make it? And you had, there was some, now this was back in the time of Egypt, and I'm sure it's repeated a number of times since then, but you've had some women who were nursing babies because the mother couldn't nurse them. That's in the Bible. So I know it's been repeated through history where you've had mothers who weren't able to nurse, but they had other women who were nursing babies that weren't their own. And you never know, it might get back to that. It might, or you have children that are really going to suffer. But mothers should know how to feed their children. They said, now I've read this, they said goat's milk, a baby can handle goat's milk. Not cow's milk, but goat's milk, because it's easier for their system to digest and everything. Because that's what they would drink a lot of times, goat's milk. Goat's milk is not mother's milk, but it's close to mother's milk. And those little babies, their digestive system, their whole system is able to take that goat's milk, not the cow's milk. But Yahusha said in Matthew 24, he talked about, what verse is that? Because we have to endure, we have to survive, we have to remain. And then in, let's go back to Matthew 24. I think it's verse 31. I think it's verse 31 before we deal with this one. Let's go up. Go up to, let's see, 30 or 29. Let's see what that other way. There it is, 29. Notice now, he says, immediately immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of heaven shall be shaken. This is after the tribulation. Then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. That's after the tribulation. They're going to see, all the tribes of the earth are going to mourn because they're going to see him. Uh-oh, I think we messed up. I think we messed up. Let's look at this, let's look up this word tribes here in 24:30. Yeah, let's compare it and go down to the King James and the Strong's. Look up tribes. Forle, an offshoot, that is race or clan. It's a race or clan. So he's saying all of the races, okay, let's go back to I seen it. Then shall all the races of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. So all of the races are going to mourn when they see him. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together. Here's this gathering together of his people, his elect. Notice now, it says that the deception is going to be so great, if possible, it's going to deceive what? The very elect. So he says, after the tribulation, then he's going to gather together his elect from the four corners, or north, south, east, and the west, from one end of heaven to the other, from one end of the Shamayim to the other. And from the four corners, north, south, east. So all around the earth, he's going to gather those who remain. Like Shaul says, those who are alive and remain. One end of heaven to the other. From north, south, east, and west, he's going to gather his people, but you got to make it to the end. You got to endure. You can't have no spirit of wanting to give up. We need to be really checking ourselves on the daily if we're going to make it or not. Do I have what it takes to make it in this hour? Do I have what it takes? I got to make it to the end. How am I going to make it to the end? How am I going to endure? Let's go back to Revelations 2:2. Because you got some folks that's just evil. How thou cannot bear them which are evil. Now, none of us is promised tomorrow. Whether you're being obedient to his word, you're presenting your bodies a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable unto him, which is your reasonable service. Everybody that's doing that, you still have to have wisdom and knowledge and understanding and to know how to endure to the end. But tomorrow's not promised to anybody. But he told us what the wages of sin is. The wages of sin is what? Death. The wages of sin is death. So, and that's not only is it the first death, but let's talk about the second death too. The wages of sin is death. But you have some amongst us that are evil. Now, it says here, you can't bear them. I mean, it should be, we should hate the evil. We should hate the evil. Start with yourself first. And then those around you. Because it says here, how thou cannot bear them which are evil. And he's talking to the people in Ephesus. Because there was a whole bunch of evil folk. You got some folks' heart is just set on sinning. And a lot of our young people, the heart is just set on sinning. They're just bent. Backsliding. Because in Hosea, it says Ephraim has joined himself to idols, leave him alone. And then another place he says they're bent on backsliding. They're just bent on backsliding. You got some folks, man, they just evil. They want to be evil. They have nothing in them to be good. A lot of these evil folk, many of them are going to die out. They're not going to make it to the end. They're going to die out. And it's appointed unto men once to die, and then after that, what? Judgment. So it's appointed unto men once to die, then you're going to be judged. So you can't bear them that are evil. There's a lot of people that are evil that he's going to uproot, and the righteous is going to remain. Give me Proverbs 10. Proverbs 10, I think it's verse, we're going to come back here, verse 30. Let's look at 30. Is that the one I want? Yeah. The righteous shall never be removed, but the wicked shall what? Not inhabit the earth. The wicked shall not inhabit the earth, but the righteous shall never be removed. So you got evil, wicked folks. They're not going to be. There's another verse that I want to get. Because he says the wicked's going to be uprooted. Where is that at now? Yeah, it's in Proverbs. Where's that at? I can't pull it down right now. Huh? Plucked up, cut off? What? Oh, second chapter. Okay. Proverbs 2:26. Proverbs 2:22. Is that the one? Okay. Here, yeah. Let's look at verse 21. For the upright shall dwell in the land, and the perfect shall what? Remain in it. But the wicked shall be cut off from the earth, and the transgressor shall be rooted out of it. So you got some folks that are just bent on evil. You got some folks, they're just bent on transgressing. They're just transgressors. Sin is the transgression of the law. So you got some folks that just love to transgress. They just love to sin. It's just in them to sin. They're going to be rooted out of it. They've got to go. Yes. Yeah, it is. It is. This, you can go with this one here, you can go to 1 Thessalonians 4:17. We don't have to go there, but you can use these two scriptures with 1 Thessalonians 4:17, because it says, we which are alive and remain, the ones who are alive and remain. And it says they're going to be caught up to meet him in the air, because when he comes back and he's going to be seen of all races, he's going to gather his people. We're going to be with him. Well, where is he going to be? When he sets up his kingdom, he's going to be right here on earth. He's going to set up his kingdom on earth. You'll have some that will reign with him 1,000 years, and you'll have some that will reign with him forever. Now, the promise he's given us is that we'll be able to reign with him forever, because we were obedient unto him when he says we must be, marvel not, you must be born again. You must be born with water and spirit. He says, marvel not. Don't even think about it. Don't even debate it. Don't debate it. You must be born again. And it says all of those who were obedient were given eternal life. He gave the Ruach Kodesh to them who were obedient. And it says that, how do you know those who, it says those who, and we don't have to go there, but Acts 5:31, it says, or 32, it says 32, it says that he gave the Holy Ghost to all those who obey him. And then in Hebrews 5:9, being made perfect, he became the author of what? Eternal salvation unto all those who. So if you're obedient unto him, he gives you the Ruach Kodesh. If you remain obedient unto him after you get the Ruach Kodesh, then you get eternal salvation. But you still have to remain obedient unto him. Yeah. It says here, and we are witnesses of these things, and so is the Ruach Kodesh, whom Elohim have given to them that obey him. So he gave them the Ruach Kodesh on the day of Pentecost because they were obedient unto him. And he continues to give out the Ruach Kodesh unto those who obey him. So let's go back to Revelations 2:2, because we're going to finish up there. You can't bear them which are evil. We should have no association. Now, get an understanding of this, because Shaul said, you know, you ain't supposed to keep company with fornicators. But he says, not altogether the fornicators in the world, because then you won't even be able to go out your house. You won't be able to do that. So what he meant was not keeping with fornicators where? In the church, in the body. I can't, when you know there's a fornicator in the body, oh, we still hanging out, we still close, we still tight, that's my boy, that's my girl, but they're fornicators. I don't care. That's my boy, that's my girl. See, that's when you go against his spirit. Because by putting them away or leaving them alone, a couple of things might happen. One thing is, if you leave them alone, if they truly want to be saved, they're going to do the repentance and everything to get back with them if they truly want to be saved. If they don't, they're going to leave you alone so you won't be tempted. Because let me tell you, if you're hanging out with fornicators, what do you think you're going to do? You're going to fornicate. That's what fornicators do. They fornicate. So if you're hanging out with fornicators, you're going to fornicate. But he says, I'm not telling you not to go out of your house, because we're in the world. But he said a brother that is in the church, in the body, he says you put that one away. So here in Ephesus, they couldn't bear them that were evil. It should hurt your heart. Now, we do have prayer. I want to announce this. We have prayer at 6 on Friday, and we got a prayer list. And I just, text me if you want to be on that prayer list. I've been getting some names and stuff, and people's names to call out. We prayed in the new year. There were some of us that was here, prayed in the new, I'm talking about the Hebrew calendar, not this pagan New Year. But we prayed in on the New Year, on the Hebrew calendar. There was a few of us here that prayed in the New Year. And we've been praying at 6. Now, I haven't been able to make all of them. But we've got some that are faithful that are coming to prayer. 6 o'clock on Friday, we have our prayer and we usher in the Shabbat. Unity prayer, corporate prayer at 6 o'clock. Now, just if I happen to miss 1 or 2 of those, don't mean that there's not prayer. You still have prayer at 6 o'clock. Well, the pastor ain't there. The leader's not there. Well, are you tied to the leader? Are you tied to the Ruach Kodesh? Are you tied to the Holy Ghost? Or are you tied to that man? You should be tied to the Holy Ghost. You got one Christ, and he ain't on the earth. He left his spirit here. But he's looking down, he's watching. You unbear. And thou hast tried them which say they are apostles. So how do you try an apostle? It's just like he says, believe not every spirit. But what are you supposed to do? Oh, that was mine. Did y'all hear that? I don't know. Try them. Just like you, those spirits, he says, believe not every spirit. Do you think I'm believing every? Let's remember that our Messiah, Yahushua Mashiach, wasn't talking about Roman Catholicism, all those other denominations. He wasn't dealing with all of them. When he talked about that number and his people and everything, he was talking about his people. So when you see this here, they say they are apostles. You know, he ain't talking about Clement, Ignatius, Irenaeus, Origen. What are some of the other ones? Jerome, Eusebius, Justus Martyr. Because I'm reading his letter. He had a conversation with a Hebrew. They was going back and forth. But his experience, Justus Martyr, his experience with Mashiach and the Ruach Kodesh is not like ours. So should I believe him, or should I believe these people who were witnesses, where he says we are witnesses of these things? And the ones who said, like Kepha said, they've received the Holy Ghost as well as we. So should I believe that witness, or should I believe these post-apostolic Justus Martyr, his witness that he said he had? Because he didn't get saved like us. But he framed what the Roman Catholic Church believes. And the Roman Catholic Church is over Christendom. When you say the word Christendom, Christendom means you're in the Roman Catholic Church. All of Christendom. Well, and it's not hard to see, because they moved the Shabbat from the 7th day to the 1st day. And so you either line up with the true apostles, or you can try them which say they are apostles. And they're not. And so what have you found? You found out that they're liars. So I try them by the word. I can try every apostle by the word. Line up with the word. If you can line up with the word, you're a true apostle. If you can't line up with the word, you're not. You're not a true apostle. You are a liar. Everybody that says the law is done away with is a liar. And that comes from the Roman Catholic Church. Y'all better hear it now. Roman Catholic, which is universal, Roman Catholic construct of Christianity, or in other words, Christendom. So I can prove through the word, try them, which say they're apostles and are not, and has found them to be liars. The more I study Torah, and Torah is, do you know Torah is actually 5 books? Torah is the writings of Moshe, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. That's Torah. And when you look at Torah in the original writing, or as far back as Hebrew as you can get in that language and dissect, and I'm looking at some different software that we're going to put up here to where you can see the scriptures, but it's not just going to be, it'll be in King James English, but we're going to look at some other, and look at some words and try to get some understanding. You can't do nothing without law. If you try, then you're lawless. You're lawless. If you skirt and go against his law, his Torah, that's what iniquity is. Iniquity is lawlessness. So everybody that says there is no law, oh, I'm apostolic, but there is no law, I can try you through the word, because what I'm learning in that Hebrew is he created divine law before he created anything else. There has to be order. He says all things must be done decently and in order. You know who tried to disrupt things? That old Satan. Because when he created everything perfect, then all of a sudden it was void and what? We won't go to Genesis 1 and 1, Genesis 1 and 2. But, and then Proverbs 8, I don't know, it's good to me. Maybe not to y'all, but it's good to me. But, go ahead. Yeah, it says that. Genesis 1 and 1. Okay, let's look at Genesis 1 and 1 real quick. Genesis 1 and 1. In the beginning, Elohim created the heaven and the earth. Okay, so let's go ahead.
So Satan got in there somewhere between verse 1 and 2.
And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. So what happened? When he created all things through his, because you'll find out. Okay, let's go to our compare here, and let's look at some different. Slow down. See this? Okay. Now let's go down to the King James here, and let's look up H430. H430. In the context, we want to look at H and C, but this is the root. This is the root word here. You've got the aleph and the lamed. The aleph and the lamed. And let's go down. The aleph being the stroke, the oxen. The lamet is a picture of a shepherd or a staff, and also represents the authority. Remember that, the authority. Okay, go down. Let's keep going. Because what was it? H and C, I think that's what it was. H and C. Okay. H here, the yoking together of two parties, a treaty or covenant binds two parties together. Okay? An oath. The oath in, now all of this is this here. Okay? The Elohim of the Hebrews was seen as the older ox that, okay, go up, Brother Nathan, is yoked to his people in a covenant relationship. So it was, what was it, HC? Is that what it was? Okay, did we find that? Brother Nathan? Did we go past it? We went past, oh, here it is. Here it is. Here it is. The power or might of one who rules or teaches. One who yokes with another, often applied to rulers or a God with a little g. So it's one who rules, go back up, one who rules, the power or might of one who rules or teaches. So in the beginning, the one who rules or teaches, the one who rules or teaches, well, that which teaches, what did it do? Huh? It created. So this rules and teaches, and that's what created. So let me show you this in there was a time when let's see. I think is it Leviticus? Let me look this up again. Okay, so this is used. Oh, okay. I have to put this in my notes because I don't want to hold everybody up. Okay, here it is. Here it is. Exodus 21. Exodus 21 and verse 6. And then Exodus 22 and 8. Exodus 21 and 6. Okay, it says, then his master shall bring him unto Who's this? He shall also bring him to the door or unto the doorpost, and his master shall bore his ear through with an awl, and he shall serve him forever. So, and then the other one was Exodus 22. We're going to look at both of these, Exodus 21 and 6, and then Exodus 22 and 8. And we're going to come back here. Exodus 22 and 8. If the thief be not found, then the master of the house shall be brought unto the who? To see whether he hath put his hand unto his neighbor's goods. So now we're going to look at Exodus 21 and 6, and then Exodus 22 and 8. And let's do the comparison here. Let's do the comparison here and look at the different versions. It says, in here, in this is a Septuagint, he says G-O-D, right? Sefer, if the thief be found, then the master of the house shall be brought unto the judges, right? Okay, let's go on down and let's see the word that they used for judges. See that? 430, and it's used in the same context as HC. And what did we find out about the HC in that context there? Someone who rules and teaches. So the same ones who had to be a judge, they were called gods or Elohim. They actually called them Elohim. Now, why did they call them Elohim? Why would they use Elohim here? Because they taught. They were the teacher. They were the ones who had to teach and rule. They had to teach, the ones who had rule, and they had to teach. So let's go back to Genesis 1 and 1. So the one who has to rule and teach is the one that created. So when you look at Elohim, Elohim can also be used for a human being, but not so much that they're a human being, but because they have the power to what? To judge, to rule or teach. So it's what they teach. It's that divine teaching then. The divine teaching is Elohim. So the divine teaching or divine law is what created. It was the divine law that created. Okay. We'll deal more with that. Anybody, you guys got any questions or anything on that? So who's over Elohim? Yeah, who's over Elohim? If this Elohim in the context, now we looked at it how it's being used in that context, right? In the context here, that which has the rule, supreme rule, and that which teaches. Elohim, or that which rules and teaches, what did Elohim do? Created. Well, who's over Elohim? No one? Huh? No, who's over Elohim? No. Okay. No one? Okay. Now, let's go to, so in this whole chapter, it's Elohim. Let's go to the next chapter, chapter 2. Let's start at verse 1. 2, verse 1. Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the host of them, and on the seventh day Elohim ended his work, or the supreme ruler that teaches, okay? And he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made, and Elohim blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because that that he had rested from all his work which Elohim created and made. Verse 4, these are the generations of the heavens and of the earth when they were created in the day that Yahuwah is over Elohim. That doesn't make sense? It doesn't. Huh? No, but what did we say Elohim was? In the context that is used, Elohim is the supreme ruler that teaches, right? So what is this then? Well, that's his name. That's the English. This is the first time you see Yahuwah, the tetragrammaton, Yod He Ud He. The very first time you see Yod He Ud He, because see, a lot of times people don't think it means it doesn't matter. It doesn't, it does matter. But when you're not trained to see his name and to be led by his name, there's a lot of things you'll miss, you won't see it. Because when Musha wrote at the beginning, after he started writing off, what he's writing about, he's saying the supreme ruler that teaches divine law created the heaven and earth. But he didn't give then it says, so notice now the generations of, we'll get it. I don't want to get it. We'll get it later. We'll get into it. We'll get into it a little bit more. Because what I really wanted to deal with was the fact that we got to get right. We got to get right. This ain't nothing to play with. I mean, if you really want to get deep into this, to understand who your Father is and what he expects of us, this ain't nothing to play with. People are fooling around playing with their soul. And when you look at Yahuwah Elohim, he says, all souls are mine. And he says, the soul that sinneth, it's going to die. The divine teacher or the divine law, he will not break that law for nobody. He's not going to break it for nobody. So we have an opportunity. We have been given mercy and grace so that we can miss that death. He ain't playing. I mean, this is a very serious thing, because y'all don't play. Men play. You have a lot of people fooling around, playing around. It's time to really take, and we've been given this opportunity, but it's time to really take this thing serious and get ready for what's coming. If you don't know, in Exodus, we won't pull it up tonight, but in Exodus, it says, Yahuwah is a man of war. Yahuwah is a man of war. And there is a lot of war and bloodshed coming. It's already started. It's playing out right before our eyes. And I know here in our Midwest region where we are right now, we're kind of insulated. We haven't really had, what happened in Buffalo, what's going on. And I've been following the news out of Israel. And there's one website that I go to pull, two of them that I go to kind of pull up information and find out what's going on and stuff. But on May 6th, the rabbis there started to, they're actually in the process now of gathering the stones, and they have they say they got the blueprints anyway, to start building that third temple. They want to start doing it. Now, the rabbis, if they are actually collecting the stones and trying to start to, they got to gather all the materials first because they're going to build the temple. Now, they're not the people, but I just want to say this to let you know, they would not even start to build the temple unless they know the Mashiach is here. So either they believe, the people over there in Israel occupying the land, either they believe the Mashiach has come or they're expecting him any day. So they're trying to build the temple. Now, he's not the Mashiach because we've already read that all races are going to mourn and they're going to see him. And he's going to gather, when he does show up, he's going to gather his people. But if they think that the Mashiach is here, which could be the Antichrist, yeah, the man of sin. But because their whole premise is off. So he has to be the man of sin. But if they think he's here already, how close do you think we are? And folks fooling around. I mean, folks are fooling around, playing with their soul. Yes. No, he's not the Mashiach. Yeah. They had somebody that came into the temple at one of the feasts, and he said he was the Mashiach. And so they sat down and they quizzed him and questioned him. He answered all their questions, and he was asking them questions and everything like that. And then they had this big old celebration. He's got to be the Mashiach because, he went through their judging on whether he was a Mashiach or not. He's not. He's not the Mashiach. And the person that'll rise up over there is not the Mashiach. Not the one that we know is going to return for us. But if they believe that he's here or it's just any day and they're trying to get the stones and trying to get the things ready for the temple, it's not going to be too much longer. It's not going to be too much longer that the real Mashiach is going to return. But we have to go through. There's going to be a period that we have to endure. And when you compile all the scriptures from Genesis to Revelation, you compile all the scriptures, there's going to be a lot of death, and there's going to be a lot of people that's going to be uprooted. There's going to be a lot of wicked people, evil people. They're going to be uprooted, but we have to endure. Does that mean that everybody's dying is evil and wicked? No, we got saints. We got some that are passing off the scene and everything. He's got control of all souls. So he says, all souls are mine. The soul, he said, all souls are mine. So he can take the righteous with the wicked. Because it says that in Ezekiel, Yakazakal, chapter 21, I think it is. He says he's going to take the righteous with the wicked. So does that mean everybody that dies is wicked? Everybody? I know there's just going to be a mix. But we have to go through this difficult time that's ahead. We have to go through it, and we have to endure. because he's going to have a people that will not be deceived. He says, it's going to get so bad, that day is going to get so bad, I've got to shorten it for the elect's sake. Otherwise, the whole elect is going to be deceived. So he has to shorten, and those days are coming. Those days are coming. You already heard me say it. I've said it once or twice before, but I think probably about March, April, the next Passover of 2023, the whole wheels, everything's going to come off. And maybe before then. I don't know. It could happen before then, but we're looking at the first part. We're in the time of sorrows, and this is the first part of it. But when the wheels come off and it goes off the rail, he's going to have to shorten those days, because if he doesn't, the elect won't make it. He says, at one time, he says, there'll be no flesh that'll be saved. I got to shorten them days, because ain't no flesh going to be saved. So what does he mean by no flesh was going to be saved? I have to stop it because no flesh would be saved. What would he have to stop? No, not the seasons. What would he have to stop? Because, The deception? Yeah, I mean, the whole world's deceived, but he has to stop something. Otherwise, there would be no flesh. Sin? No. I mean, what are we on the precipice of? War, but what kind of war? I mean, we've been in a spiritual warfare, but what kind of war would knock out all flesh? Yeah. So he says, I got to come and shorten that, because if I don't, there would be no flesh that would make it. So that's talking about a nuclear holocaust, because Russia has already had that rhetoric. We're going to launch some nuclear weapons. Well, you think they'll be the only ones launching them? Because if they launch anything in this direction, United States is going to be launching. President Biden is getting ready to go over to South Korea, and Kim Jong-un, they already said he's going to test some missiles when the president gets over there. Is that it? Oh, Ping is with China. Yeah. Kim Jong-un is with North Korea. That's China. And China is setting up war games and everything. They're building up their military because they plan on taking Taiwan. I don't know. Yeah, there's somebody, I don't know about that. Yeah, I think they all are. I think they're all losing their mind. All these world leaders. Now, Russia sent off some surface-to-air missiles at some Israeli jets the other day that were flying over Syria or something, and they launched some missiles, surface-to-air missiles, at the Israeli jets. Iran is talking about bombing Israel. Israel's talking about bombing Iran. I mean, it's just all over the earth. They're talking about, over there you got China and Taiwan, you got North Korea, South Korea, Japan, you got Russia, Ukraine already going on, you got Israel and Iran. I mean, they're trying to go back. I mean, all over the earth, you got all this happening. If somebody launches nuclear weapons, there's going to be retaliation. There's going to be retaliation. And so he says, if I don't shorten them days, there ain't going to be no flesh saved. Ain't no flesh going to make it. So he's going to have to step in before they have this nuclear holocaust. He's going to have to step in. That's why I think we're getting close. We're getting close. He's going to gather his people, and he's going to put them in a place of refuge. But he's going to stop the meltdown of all these nations. The nuclear holocaust, he's going to stop it. So when you hear about Russia launching, United States, Taiwan, and they're getting close to doing that, our Messiah is going to be coming very soon. So you better be ready. You better be ready. You better be ready, yes. You can just feel the sense. There's just a spiritual sense that's in the air. Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah. I mean, Satan knows his time is short. He knows that this is about the end. The ones who don't know it is us. We're just living thinking like, oh, things are going to keep. No, we're getting very close here. Things, a lot of prophecy that he has said is starting to manifest itself. We're starting to see it, prophecy being fulfilled and stuff. This is the generation, and we see all this stuff going on because a lot of people say, well, there's always been earthquakes. Yeah, but war, earthquakes, pestilence, all this stuff, all of it happening at once. Yeah, this is the generation. And there is a spiritual sense in the air because there's a prince and the power of the air, and he knows his time is short. And if he knows his time is short, we ought to realize that I got to make my call in the election sure. I got to do this thing right. Yeah. There's no sense of urgency like. You're going to fear it when you get there. It's going to be too late, though. Hell and, yeah, because they scared us back in the day. They scared, and hell is real. It's real. It wasn't made for us. It was made for the devil and his angels. But he said, I have to enlarge it. I got to make it bigger. And you try to tell people, try to warn them, say, hey, you better make your call and election sure. You better get in line, do it right. You need some help. You need to pray. You need what? You need to go to church. You need to talk about the Bible. You want to get some tea. What do you need? You need us pray with you. Let's call on him. What do you need? But yeah, people just don't have that sense of, I've got, because the days are getting shorter, but who says you're going to see tomorrow? That ain't promised to none of us. Tomorrow is not promised to another. It's appointed unto men once to die. After that, judgment. You're going to be judged. Anybody telling you ain't going to be judged, you're going to be judged. We all going to be judged. Good and the bad. That's why I want to do more good than bad. Because I know I've done enough bad. I've done enough things wrong. I want to do some right things and start to build up some right things and get that on my scale, because I'm going to be judged on the good and the bad. But any other questions? Anybody got anything? Time's winding up. It's winding up. We'll be here at 6 on Friday for prayer, ushering in the Shabbat. All those who can make it. And we do have a prayer list. I'm going to try to get those names. We can call those names out. And then we'll be here on the Shabbat. Be here on the Shabbat at 11 o'clock to offer up that service unto him as a sweet smelling savor unto the throne of the Most High. He does hear our prayers. He sees what we're doing. He knows what we're doing. And we're following in his footsteps. So let's keep that going. And with that, I'm going to say shalom, shalom, shalom to everybody. All of our brothers and sisters, Hebrews, Shebrews, kings and queens, all of our sojourners, everybody that's sojourning in Yasharal. We say shalom, shalom.